In this video, I want to talk about cash flow management. Now, I appreciate that's probably not everybody's favourite subject, and it's probably about on par with talking about bookkeeping, but it is essential to having a successful business and making sure that you can pay what needs to be paid when it needs to be paid. So if you have notifications, bank notifications on your smartphone that pop up and tell you, congratulations, a deposit has just been made into your account, you probably open that and you go, sweet, client's paid me $1,000, shopping spree. And then the accountant comes along and says, no, that's not what happens here. You can't spend that $1,000, or not all of it anyway, because you have liabilities, as we say in the business. So liabilities, things that you need to pay. That money isn't presumably just pure profit. There are things from that money that you need to make sure you cover. And we call those kind of budgets, and we need to make sure we're allocating to them correctly. So what sort of things do we need to be allocating to? There's kind of a number of different purposes from our responsibilities from that money flowing into your account. So you're probably going to have to pay tax. You should pay for super if you're not an employer. When you have to pay super, you've got your expenses to pay for, so marketing, administration, overheads, running costs. You probably, if you sell products, you're going to have to pay to recreate or reproduce or reorder that product. Equipment, profit, because everybody wants to be making a profit. Part of that profit needs to come from the income, and paying yourself. So regardless as if you're a sole trader or you run a business and employ yourself, each time that income comes in, that's not just to pay you. There are a lot of other things that money has to do within your business. So how do you track these things? Well, it comes back to kind of budget basics of allocating a portion or a percentage of that income to your different responsibilities. So in the olden days, when people got paid in cash, they would do this with envelopes. Envelope for rent, envelope for bills, envelope for groceries, envelope for school uniforms if you had kids, that sort of. They would take an amount each pay period and allocate it to those things. Now, with multiple bank accounts, we can just do that all electronically. So you can set up multiple accounts for the different parts that need money from that income. Personally, I use Bank West. It is a subsidiary of Commonwealth Bank, so it's not necessarily an ethical choice, but you do get 10 accounts for free for personal, and I am a sole trader, so that's still a part of my business, but they are completely separate from my personal life, and I have 10. I only actually use 5. And why do I use 5? Well, I follow a system called Profit First. Now, I'm not saying this is for everybody, but it is a really good cash flow management system that walks you through the steps and the process on setting a system like this up, so you can really focus on making sure that income is allocated to your responsibilities. The other benefit of Profit First is it really forces you to pay attention to where you're spending your money, what expenses you've got coming in, and what could be optimized to give you more profit. Now, the reason it's called Profit First is because the author, Mike, actually suggests we should rearrange the accounting formula. Now, if you're not aware of the accounting formula, it's income minus expenses equals profit. And he suggests, well, the purpose of a business is to make profit, so we should be putting profit before expenses. And we should be saying income less profit equals expenses. And expenses should be the result or the product of what's generated in the business, not profit being the result of what's left. So, if I've gone through that and you're still with me, you're probably thinking this is a lot more admin time, Claire. There's a lot of data entry dealing with these transfers. And yes, there are. I'm not going to deny that. And it doesn't replace the need for bookkeeping. It is not bookkeeping. It is entirely separate. So yes, there is more work, but it gives you this really good snapshot each time you log into your bank account of exactly what money you have for what purpose. So you can log in, you can see exactly how much you have to spend on creating products, or on saved for taxes, or saved for super, or saved for your salary, because ideally you want to be getting into a situation where you've got a steady income. You're paying yourself a fixed monthly salary. So you're not just taking out everything from the business, you're kind of spacing it out, because you're going to have quieter months. And if you take all the money out of the business and you're not careful with it, those quieter months can be really unstable and unsettling. So it's paying yourself that fixed monthly or fortnightly or weekly salary, whatever the period it is you working out what that salary needs to be, can really help give you the stability in the business for those quieter periods. So personally, I use Profit First. I save 30% of income for taxes and superannuation. I put 15% for operating expenses for my accounting business, because I don't have products to create, just training, continued professional education, that sort of thing. 5% goes directly to profit, and I take that out as a quarterly dividend, and then 50% of what comes in goes towards my monthly salary. Now, those figures are my figures. The book really does take you through what are your figures, and it's only going to be an estimate at this stage. We can look back and we can see what we did last year. We can forecast what we think we're going to do going forward, but it's only going to be an estimate, and each quarter we go through and review the estimate. Have I saved enough for tax? Have I saved too much for tax? Have I saved more up in expenses than I think I'm going to be spending? Can I move some of that to profit or some of that to salary? Now, remembering, as a sole trader, profit and salary are the same, but this really is approaching from a business mentality of separating yourself from the business a bit, so that the business can grow and you grow with it. Now, if I've said all of this and you think it's a really good idea, but you're really not sure how to approach it or implement it, then reach out. Let's have a chat. Let's have a chat about Profit First. Let's have a chat about bookkeeping. I'm happy to have a conversation with you on some suggestions on how I could make your life easier, or how you could make your life easier.